Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all alright. I am alright, I'm just putting that out there. I've had an awful lot of messages over the last few days asking me if I'm alright. I am good. I am really out of breath. I haven't got coronavirus, I've just run up the stairs and I'm stupidly unfit. So it's one of those things, isn't it, that at the moment, kind of every time you cough or you're out of breath, and it's like, no, my drink just went out down the wrong way and I'm really unfit. So it's a loser's game, really. You always think you've got coronavirus. Anyway, I thought I would do a bit of a video. I keep getting a lot of questions about how I am, how I'm coping, what my next steps are. So I figured I'd just kind of sit down, have a bit of a chatty video with you. It does appear that my bedroom seems to be my new filming spot. It's kind of in the process of being done up. So I do apologise that everything is just kind of a bit mismatched and weird. But that's what I'm doing. Anyway. If you haven't already, please do make sure that you pause this video, that you hit the subscribe button and that you turn your notifications on. I upload every Tuesday and every Friday. So yeah, you're missing out if you don't, basically. And then also, if you haven't already, head over to my Instagram, Amber in a Teacup, and make sure that you're following me on there too. Blimey, where do I even start? So I kind of told everybody on my last upload, so Friday, was when I announced that obviously the IVF hadn't worked. And this was really quite a blow to us. I think we tested on Thursday. I told everybody on Friday, so I'd had kind of 24 hours to kind of process it and deal with it, and we'd managed to speak about it without kind of involving everybody else in that. So I was glad that I did that. I just want to say thank you. Within 24 hours of uploading on Instagram, I had over 300 messages, which was just insane, and it is the most messages I think I've ever received. And I'm pretty sure I replied to every single one of them. If I didn't, I'm really, really sorry. But I'm fairly sure I have done. But yeah, thank you ever so much. We were so overwhelmed with all of the support that we got. And it's been really nice and really quite comforting to hear, you know, from other people who have been through it. And it's just been really nice. So thank you very, very much. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. So, how am I? To be honest, I am okay. I think I'm doing a lot better than I anticipated I would be doing. I think last time when we didn't make it to transfer, when we got that phone call, that was such a blow. And I took that really badly. And I think for quite a few days I was in a really dark place where I couldn't stop crying. Whereas I don't seem to have been like that this time. I don't know whether or not it's just not sunk in or whether or not it has sunk in and I'm just coping with it better. I think there was a lot of preparation for this and there was a lot of the what ifs, etc, etc, etc. But there was also, as I spoke to you all before, we had put in a lot of steps and a lot of things and a lot of goals that we wanted to do. More me than Marco, but things that I wanted to do if this round didn't work. And I think that's kind of kept me going, because as much as obviously I would have literally given a limb for this to work, at the same time, there's things I want to do that I wouldn't be able to do if I was pregnant or if I had a child. So it's kind of given me something to look forward to in that sense. Obviously, that's all gone kind of tits up and over your shoulder because of coronavirus. So I can't actually do anything. So at the moment, I'm in lockdown, doing painting by numbers every night, drinking wine. So, you know, swings and roundabouts and all that. But generally, I seem to be doing okay. I think I've had the odd... Obviously, when we found out, I was devastated and I did spend the morning crying. But then kind of after that, I picked myself up and I was like, right, we knew this could happen. We knew it was more likely to fail than it was to work. So let's just kind of crack on, do what we need to do. If I'm honest, I think being in isolation helped. Not that we're kind of isolating, but you know what I mean? Being in the lockdown, I think really helped, because we told everybody that we needed to tell in the morning. So we kind of FaceTimed my mum, we rang Marco's dad, we spoke to my dad on the phone, etc. And I think we said what we needed to say, and then that was it. We could leave it in a box. So we then spent the day kind of outside in the garden. The weather was beautiful. We spent the day outside kind of doing up the garden, painting the fence, doing little jobs, pottering around as you do. And we actually had a really good day, and I was dancing and we were singing and we were just having a laugh, and it was really lovely to spend that time together without any kind of anxieties, and just it's happened and it's now about you and me. And we did have a lovely day. And then I think mid-afternoon, Marco's dad texted me and he sent me a really, really sweet text that had we not been in lockdown, I'd have been around his house, because that's kind of where I go to escape. And we'd have had this conversation face to face, and I wouldn't have been able to get away from it. I'd have had to have that conversation. I'd have got myself all upset, and we'd have kept having these conversations, and you can't really get away from it. Whereas I felt like, okay, I read that message and it upset me, and it hit me, and I got upset again. And then I just kind of thought, no, okay, you're not okay to have this conversation now. So I put my phone back on the windowsill and off I went, and I carried on painting the fence. And my mood lifted again. And then when I was in the headspace to say, okay, I'm going to reply to this, I then replied. So I waited a couple of hours and I sent the message back. And by that point, I was in the headspace to talk about it. So, you know, I gave him a ring and we sat there and we spoke about everything, and I didn't get upset, and we just talked, because at that point I'd kind of processed it in my head. I'd put it away for a bit. And although, yes, I was upset, of course I was in the headspace, and I was in control of who I spoke to and when I spoke to about it, rather than as being there and people continuously asking about it, kind of thing. So that did really help. And then, yeah, the next day, I'm trying to get on my days right now, was obviously the Friday, and I'd uploaded it and I'd kind of told everybody. And again, I was okay, and it was only really, I've been up and down, and I think a lot of it is to do with just general anxieties and things that kind of come with it. So I've spoken a lot on Instagram basically about like your friendships and the way that you kind of navigate around that during IVF. And I think one really big thing for me, I don't know how many times I'm going to sit here and say this all to you, but it's the friends, and you realising who actually cares and who really doesn't. And that's something I've really struggled with, because I think I have had to come to terms with the fact that a friendship I really valued has come to an end. I'm not going to go into a great amount of detail. I don't really want to sit here and trash talk anybody, nor do I really want to give it any more energy than I already have done. I put in an Instagram post the other day about how I am a very clingy and very needy person, and I have always in my life had a huge desperation for stability and security. And when I lose that, and when things change really drastically, I don't know how to cope with that. So this whole IVF as a whole is something that I struggle with because of all the uncertainty. But when it comes to friendships, especially friendships I've had for a really long time, I kind of rely on them, and I become very invested, and I kind of had, it's like my little security blanket, if that makes sense. All my relationships I kind of see as a bit of a blanket, and when somebody pulls that away, I'm a bit up in the air. Now this one in particular has shocked me, and it shocked me that it's kind of come to the end of this, if you like. But the conversation kind of hasn't been had. Like, there's no conversation of, right, that's it, we're not friends anymore. And I know that sounds really silly and really childish almost, but I think because I've not been able to say what I want to say, I don't feel like I'm getting any closure with that. And I think that is something that has impacted me a huge amount with this, because not only has my IVF failed, but in the process of all the IVF, it's made me realise an awful lot about who I invest my time in, how I invest my time, and a lot about myself in with that, and what I need as a person to be able to move forward and be okay. So I've had an awful lot to navigate around, and I think that is something that has really got to me over the last few days, is how much is changing and how much I am kind of now at a point in my life where I need to let go of so much that doesn't bring me anything positive, isn't good for me. And I think I have got to a point now where I kind of want to let go of my life the way it was. I have kind of reached a point where I am accepting that the person I was before all of this is never ever coming back. And there is part of her still inside me that I do really want to kind of bring back. Like, I've always been a massive stress ed, and I've always been somebody that's kind of, you know, I'm the queen of drama and things like that. But I look back at my wedding photos, and as much as my wedding photos are absolutely beautiful, at the same time, I can't look at them because I don't recognise the person that's in them. And that for me is the hardest part. And I think now it's failed again. I'm now at a point where I need to stop putting everything on hold for this, and I need to get on with my life outside of IVF. There's so much, I think, that I have lost, and yet so much that I have gained, that I kind of need to figure out who I am, what it is that I want out of life, and I need to adapt to a life without children, and knowing that there is a possibility that this will never happen for me. And, you know, I know that so many people will then sit there and say, oh no, you can't say that, it will happen, it will happen, it will happen. It might not. And I get really frustrated and really have to bite my tongue when people say that to me. It will happen, you will get your time. I might not, and that's okay. And as much as, okay, it's not okay, and the thought of never having kids literally kills me inside, I need to work on it not having that impact on me, and I need to work on being okay if that never happens, and I need to accept that that might never happen, and that there is more to life, and I can create this amazing life for myself without having children. And if I do get to the point where I have them, bloody amazing, but I can't have my life revolve around that anymore. I think I've spent five and a half years of my life now trying, and it's not happened, and it's never ever going to happen on its own. And, you know, we don't have an endless pit of money, and we can't keep spending every single thing that we have on IVF. You know, we need a new bathroom. We could do with a new kitchen. We want to move house one day. I want to change jobs, and there's so much that we have really just said, no, we can't do it because we can't afford it. We can't afford to do this. We can't afford to do that. We couldn't afford for me to take a pay cut. We can't afford to go kitting out the bathroom, kitting out the kitchen. We've not been able to afford to go on holiday because we're doing all this. And I've got to a point now, well, we've got to a point now where it's like, you know what, sod it. No, we can't. IVF, you put yourself through so much, both physically and emotionally and financially. Like, you really do go through the mill, that when I've now done it twice in the space of about 5 months and it's not worked, and yet the last, you know, 5 years of my life leading up to that have been so focused on that, you kind of get to a point where you're like, right, I need to be able to be okay in myself. So that is kind of my goal at the minute. So we're not going to be doing IVF anytime soon. We've had 2 rounds. I need a break. My mental health needs a break. And so that is how we're going to do it. And that is what we're going to do. I'm looking at changing jobs. We are doing things to the house that have needed to be done for a long, long time. But it's things like we've started work on the garden. We're going to invest in a new patio. We're going to invest in some furniture. We're going to just invest in the house. And in ourselves and in each other. And if I'm really honest, the last few days since it's failed, you remove the stress of the IVF. And I mean, Marco and I are a strong unit anyway. Like, I am so, so lucky to have the relationship that I have. But over the last few days, I almost feel like we have just reverted back to how things were before the IVF, because we're not thinking about when we're next going to do this, and we're not thinking about that. We're just thinking about each other. And it's been so nice to just be with each other and not have everything revolving around that, like having conversations about things that we can do together and just getting to know each other again. And I feel like you just kind of course, you know, I know him better than anybody else in the world and vice versa, but I think you kind of hit a point where you stop getting to know each other and you stop talking to each other and really hearing each other, because everything revolves around a child that you don't have. And so for me, the last few days have been really nice of just spending that time together. And I don't think we'd have had it if we weren't in lockdown. So as much as it sounds absolutely bonkers and I'm kind of going a bit batshit crazy, at the same time, I've loved it. I really have loved it, and I'm absolutely dreading going back to work. Like, my anxiety has been through the roof when it's come to the thought of going back to work. and obviously I'll go back, well, tomorrow, but for you watching this, I'll have gone back today, and it's, I don't know, it's been a real eye-opener for me, I think. So the plan is obviously for me to change jobs. I think with the way the world is at the moment, that's obviously going to be a good few months, and it would be anyway, because I'm obviously applying for a PGCE. But should I not get that, then maybe we will go again at the end of the year, but we'll have a bit of a break. And to be honest, I don't know if I want to go again this year, even if I don't get onto this course. I think maybe I'd just change jobs anyway. Maybe we'll kind of just enjoy life a little bit. I think, you know, I said on Instagram the other day, I said it a couple of months ago as well, I really want to run a half marathon. I've never run further than 5k, and I've only ever run 5k once. But I really, really want to do it, and there's quite a few different things that I would like to do. So that's got to take priority, I think. That we have got to the point now where it is us that matters now. I think with regards to how I'm coping, like I say, I get quite a lot of questions about this, and I think I am coping okay. I think the evenings are the worst for me at the moment. The evenings seem to be when I get upset, when everything kind of sinks in, when the hustle and bustle of the day kind of stops, and then you're just sat alone with your thoughts. That's when I tend to get upset. My withdrawal bleed started night before last, and it has been agonising. Like, I've been in so much pain, and I think that is just a stark reminder of it all, and that has been very hard to process. And yeah, I think we need a break, and that's kind of all I can say. And you know, I said in my last video and in my Instagram post, I said I obviously didn't know the direction that I wanted this to go in, whereas if I'm honest, I think I do. I think all of this, my Instagram, my YouTube, etc., I think as much as obviously we will come back to the IVF, like, my IVF journey is far from over, and I do sit here and I think I will not stop until I have a child, but I can afford to have an 18-month break. You know, I don't like the phrase I've got time on my side, but in that sense I kind of have. You know, a lot of people know there is quite a big age gap between me and my husband, and for him it's a case of, okay, how much longer do we go? But realistically, we do still have 5-6 years, and to be honest, 5-6 years down the line, I don't think I want to go anymore either. So it's kind of, you know, we have 18 months off and then we kind of carry on. There's no harm in doing that. I think sometimes you have to do that. As much as you want it more than anything in the world, you have to think of yourself in this, and at the end of the day, number one comes first, and number one is you. I'm going to start getting back into my Reiki and my reflexology and start having that done on a regular basis and just take care of myself. And I think, you know, I want to get back into the clothes I could get into 2 years ago. I want to get back into them by the end of the year. I just want to start taking a bit more care of myself and becoming very self-aware, and I just want to be happy. And I think it's been a really long time since I could genuinely sit here and say I am happy. I am very happy in my marriage. I'm very happy with my house, my dog, my friends, but I think there's an awful lot, I think, in here that needs work. And I think my mental health over the last 18 months has really taken a dive, and I have felt things that I have never ever felt in nearly 26 years, and it's scary when you feel like that. So I think I really do need to work on myself on that front. So that is kind of the direction that all my accounts are going to go. Obviously they will return to IVF. Obviously there's still going to be a focus on infertility, because at the end of the day I can't just shut it away. It is still a huge part of my life, and I'm sure in a few months' time when my best friend has her baby, and I'm sure, you know, eventually when people in my family, like my sister, start having babies and my other friends start having children, things like that, I'm sure there are moments where it will still floor me, and it will do over the next few years, and I'm sure that if it never happens, it will for the rest of my life. But I want to focus everything on dealing with that now, and rather than it being my only reality, it just being part of my reality and part of my life, and it's just a chapter in it rather than the whole story. And I think it has very much made me who I am. It has very much changed me as a person. It has very much opened my eyes to an awful lot of things and a lot of life lessons that I wouldn't have learned had I not been through this. But I'm ready to kind of turn it on its head now, and I'm ready to just kind of move on and accept that this is the way my life is and learn to live with that. So I think that is what I need to do now. I need to learn to live with it. And then when we do go for it again, I will be in a better headspace, and it won't be everything. Like, it will be everything, you know, but you know what I mean? My entire life doesn't revolve around IVF. My life can go on. And so that is it now. My stance, if you like, the way that all my social medias, etc., are going to go, this is just life. And accepting a life without kids. And so that's what I'm going to do from here on in. I put a bit of a Q&A out on Instagram about what people wanted to see, and the support just for me as a person was just overwhelming. So that's what I'm going to do. So if you don't like me as a person, then, well, I'm sorry, because that's what you're going to get now. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's answered everything. I feel like I have just waffled on a little bit, so I am sorry, but at the same time, no, I'm not. That's me. So, so yeah, like I said earlier, I need to work on not saying that is one thing I really, really do need to work on. But anyway, there I go again. Thank you ever so much for watching. Like I said earlier, please do make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I upload every Tuesday and every Friday. Make sure that you also head over to my Instagram, give this video a bit of a thumbs up for me, and drop me a comment. Let me know the type of videos you want to see, anything that you want me to cover. I'm not going to completely put IVF in a box. If there's a video you want me to do relating to IVF, then let me know. That's fine. I will still continue to do that. But that's it from me tonight. So thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you on Friday. Wish me luck back at work, and yeah, that's it. I've just realised I don't think I've ever worn my glasses in a video before. This is my face. But yeah, thank you very much. Love you all. Bye.